It's no secret at this point that foldables are some of my favourite tech that you can pick up. They're great for multitasking, they're great for watching content, they're great for gaming, and the best part is that these are just really cool. But I have a bit of a problem where at the moment I kind of hate that I love foldables, and let me explain. First off, foldables aren't new anymore. They have come a long way in the past couple of years, even if they still only take up about 2% of that US market, but there are now a lot of them. You have a folding Pixel, a 6th generation Z Fold, and other options from the likes of Oppo and Honor, and even the world's thinnest phone that doubles up as a trifold. But even though we now have more options than ever when it comes to folding phones, I still feel like we have the same problems on folding phones now that we had 6 years ago. Samsung launched the Galaxy Fold way back in 2019, and I still remember going into the Samsung store and being blown away by how cool it was. Like, there was a tablet-sized screen that I could just stick straight into my pocket. But then I also remember the other part of the Galaxy Fold that blew me away if we forget about the quality issues, and that was the price. Samsung was selling a phone at almost $2,000, and at the time that was the same price of a used car or an entire ecosystem with whatever brand that you might want. And still today, the biggest problem with folding phones is the price, because I still can't think of a brand out there that will sell you a brand new book style foldable for less than $1,600. And even for tech enthusiasts, that is a huge amount of money, especially when you consider the resale value of these. Like, these depreciate quicker than a car. I also don't know many people that would opt for a folding phone when they can pick up a flagship phone like the S25 Ultra for less than a folding phone with almost no missing features. For example, one of the biggest caveats when you pick up a folding phone is that you're going to lose camera quality. And don't get me wrong, folding phones have come a long way with camera quality over the past couple of years. You just have to look at the Huawei Mate X6 or the Oppo Find N5 for proof of that, because these have some great main cameras, but sadly these aren't available inside the US. On the foldables you can get in the United States, the cameras just don't hold up as well as the flagship counterparts. The main lens on most foldables does a good job, and it might sound a bit generic here, but details and dynamic range on the phones that I've used tend to do a good job, and you can pick at them, but overall there's no complaints. It's when you start to look at cameras like the ultra wide or the telephoto cameras, this is where you sometimes just don't get a great experience, and you miss out on cameras like a 5x optical on the Z Fold 6 just because of those space restrictions. Google did manage to fit in a 5x lens on the Pixel 9 Pro Fold this year, but that then is only a 10 megapixel lens compared to the 48 megapixel 5x on the Pixel 9 Pro, and you really can tell the quality difference here. And even my favourite foldable in the world right now, the Oppo Find N5, has some issues in this department as well, because it has an awful ultra wide camera. And then when you turn to the selfie camera that is on the folding displays, these are also not great. And I'm talking here about the Galaxy Z Fold 6. I like that Samsung have tried to cover it up, but the camera is verging on unusable with how bad the quality is in either day or nighttime. And then in turn, this drop in quality for cameras is then a direct drop in quality for video as well. It's never awful on folding phones that I've tried, but it still isn't great for the price that you're paying. And it is a compromise you make when you pick up a foldable, but sometimes you just want them to be a bit better. From people I've spoken to, one of the biggest put-offs of buying a folding phone is that durability, because they think a knock or a drop or a scratch is going to completely destroy the phone. But folding phones have come a long way in the past couple of years, and actually they're now pretty durable. Folding phones will never be as durable as slab style phones, but they really are not that far away anymore. A dunk in water for most foldables now is absolutely fine. Samsung, Google, Honor and Oppo all having at least protection in water for 30 minutes at 1 meter, and the Oppo Find N5 having IPX6, 8 and 9 resistance. And even the weakest point on folding phones, the hinges, have come a long way since the original Galaxy Fold days, so that being a major weak point is pretty much a non-issue anymore. However, it is still a little bit susceptible to dust or sand getting in there, because if you do get that, then there is going to be an issue here, because no folding phone yet has official dust resistance, so that is something that does let folding phones down, and something that the hinge definitely is a bit weak to. And of course, with that in the display, you do have to just be a little extra careful that you don't get any deep scratches on it, because it is ultra thin glass, so a fingernail can ruin that display. But over the past couple of years of me using folding phones, I've used a lot of them for my daily driver, and I've never had an issue with either the Samsung phone, the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, a Honor phone. They've all been absolutely fine. Now, this might just be personally speaking, but for me, the benefits of a foldable outweigh the compromises you have to make. Having a tablet in your pocket is great. And now we're a few years on, all the issues with those early gen phones have mostly been fixed. You have cover displays that are now the same size as a slab phone. A lot of foldables are now the same thickness as flagships, and in some cases they're thinner and lighter. And also now the batteries on these folding phones can outlast some of the best slab phones from Google and Samsung, amongst others. I love foldables and I want them to become mainstream. I want every single person walking down the street to have one of these in their pocket. But the problem for me is that not one foldable does everything that I need. I kind of need to create like a concoction of a phone from everything that other foldables have. Take the Pixel Fold, for example. I bought this phone when it came out and I loved it, but sadly over time that crease has just become really noticeable. And if you're out and about in bright sunlight, then there really isn't any hiding it. On the other hand, the Oppo Find N5 has the best crease that I've ever seen on a foldable. It's barely noticeable and you just don't even realize it's there. The software experience, however, isn't really there, but it is on the Galaxy Z Fold 6, which is my favorite software experience on any foldable. Especially with One UI 7 just around the corner, it's only gonna get better. But then the phone itself is too thick and too heavy, so I wish it had the same design and durability as the Honor Magic V3, which for me is a great foldable, but then the cameras aren't the best. And this is where then I wish I had the cameras from the Huawei Mate X6, because all lenses on that camera are just the best in any foldable. And I know you can say that for any phone, that you wish the Pixel had something the S25 had, but with the folding phones, I feel like there is quite a big jump between each brand. This does bring me full circle though. Despite the failings of a folding phone, I absolutely love them, and I just wish that people would use them more, which in turn might start to bring the price down slightly. But as it stands, they're just too expensive for most people. And this next bit does pain me to say it, but it might just take Apple jumping into the world of foldables to make these popular, because usually when Apple does something, people take notice, which is a shame because there is a lot of really good folding phones out there already. Let me know your thoughts on foldables though, and I have a question for you. If folding phones were the same price as a slab style flagship phone, but you still had to compromise on specs as you do with folding phones at the moment, would you opt for a folding phone just to have that extra screen real estate? I'm curious, so let me know in the comments below. Before you head off, why not subscribe to the Android Authority YouTube channel? And if you do that, then I will see you in the next video.